There was a startling mystery discovered deep amid the expansive grounds of Frank Fritz's remote mansion, one that would alter the perception of the home and the man who occupied it for all time. Only a few months after Fritz's passing, a secret tunnel beneath this modest estate's exterior was found, serving as a subtle reminder that a sophisticated hidden world was hiding beneath what seemed to be a straightforward home, painstakingly concealed and safeguarded. In addition to being a part of Fritz's legacy, this building is now the key to answering fascinating mysteries concerning his covert activities and life. This discovery came about as a consequence of an unexpected meeting with a stone maze of secret tunnels that led into previously unknown regions, rather than a routine examination. Its presence was a challenge to the public, not only due to the discovery's strangeness, but also because it exposed a side of a man and his life that had previously only been known via superficial perceptions. Fritz's meticulous layout appeared to include the tunnel, constructing a secret universe behind the walls of an apparently typical mansion, a place few could have ever imagined. Please remember to press like and share this video with your friends and family if you think this tale is fascinating. Tell us what you think about the hidden tunnel found beneath Frank Fritz's mansion by leaving a comment in the area below. In order to avoid missing out on any more amazing tales, be sure to press the subscribe button if you haven't already. Together, let's now explore the narrative. The home is situated on a large plot of land, far from the prying eyes of the contemporary world. The man who constructed it remains a mystery, despite the fact that its towering building and well-kept grounds have always made a lasting impact. Like the estate he lived on, Frank Fritz was a mysterious man who was notorious for his eccentricity and solitude. Rumors of secret passages and underground chambers circulated for years, as neighbors murmured about odd features on his property. No one could have predicted that when the FBI eventually carried out a routine inquiry following his passing, they would discover an incredible tunnel that was more appropriate for the pages of an exciting novel than any contemporary suburban setting. In the most modest of ways, the finding came to pass. After Fritz's death, investigators followed protocol and started a thorough examination of the mansion's less visited parts. They discovered a deftly hidden trap, its edges worn smooth by time, in a neglected nook of the basement. Beyond was the entrance of an intricate subterranean passageway, not just a small claustrophobic area. A tube, purposefully precise, extending into the darkness. The mood changed dramatically when the agents lowered themselves into the small corridor. Their flashlight's illumination showed them old stone walls that were elaborately patterned, indicating a deliberate symbolic design. Every advancement appeared to reveal layers of secrets that had been meticulously preserved for many years. The tunnel's construction was nothing short of remarkable. The distance of the tunnel was unknown. Its walls included sculptures and symbols that were difficult to understand right away. Deeply carved into the stone, these engravings seemed to be inspired by a variety of sources, ranging from ideas of contemporary clandestine actions to old esoteric traditions. Because of the deliberate architecture, experts hypothesized that the tunnel may have served as a meticulously planned network that only Fritz knew about, rather than merely an escape route. A person who had dedicated a significant amount of time, energy and resources to create an imperceptible passageway was indicated by the exact placement of the stones, the concealed niches that led to smaller alcoves, and the expertise of the ventilation and support systems. The atmosphere became more cramped as the agents went farther into the tunnel. Even the most tenacious investigators had to bow down to the low ceiling in the cramped hallways. An almost otherworldly character emerged in the way light and shadow interacted, with a subtle glow coming from the stone itself producing odd reflections on the walls and a sense of the paranormal. Agents who are usually taught to maintain composure when confronted with unforeseen difficulties discovered that their faces displayed a mixture of professional reserve and sincere surprise, briefly becoming pale as they took in the enormity of the situation. Demonstrating that the tunnel was more than simply a strange building, rather it was a portal into a secret existence that was kept well hidden from the general population. Even as agents meticulously recorded every aspect of the tunnel once it was discovered, a deep sense of unanswered questions emerged. The presence of such a sophisticated building beneath a mansion that formerly represented sophistication the team came to the conclusion that the tunnel was a tangible depiction of a double life, a metaphor for the life Fritz had led behind closed doors, and the solitude had triggered a number of consequences that went well beyond standard criminal investigations. It prompted a reassessment of presumptions regarding his isolation and presented fascinating questions regarding the actual character of his personal obligations, and even his level of skill. Was the tunnel constructed as a covert escape route for emergencies, or did it have a darker function such enabling covert meetings or safe passage? Every inch of the corridor was carefully designed to show that it was a crucial component of a sophisticated scheme, one that had been painstakingly hidden for reasons that only the architect knew. With its twisting curves and abrupt bends, the tunnel's architectural design brought to mind ancient labyrinths that were previously used as covert hiding places by extinct civilizations. In order to evaluate the artistry on exhibit, specialists in historical building methods were promptly called in. They observed that while the techniques employed to strengthen and carve the stone walls reminded them of old procedures, they also clearly showed signs of contemporary engineering. Fritz may have been inspired by historical antecedents and modified them to suit his own covert requirements, as seen by the workmanship and this blend of the old and the modern. Each expertly placed stone and carved line demonstrated the deft workmanship that contributed to its achievement. Beyond its straightforward design, the tunnel resembled a coded text in which each element was selected to subtly reveal its function. Those who studied the tunnel were not blind to its metaphorical implications. The presence of such symbols, along with the tunnel being meticulously concealed beneath an opulent estate, evoked a strong mixture of curiosity and unease. The automobile motifs, on the other hand, mysteriously alluded to a connection with secret societies or underground networks that have flourished throughout history, based on the concept of hidden knowledge. It sparked analogies to covert routes that were utilized by those functioning beyond the bounds of society in past times. The idea that Fritz could have deliberately allied himself with such customs gave his already enigmatic persona a new depth. The appearance of these mysterious tattoos abruptly shed light on his personal background, which had been shrouded in secrecy and conjecture for a long time. In addition to being a real building, the tunnel appeared to be a representation of the clandestine partnerships and clandestine activities that may have shaped his life in its corridors. The story became more complex once the research team discovered a number of aspects. There were branching hallways that led to private chambers, each with unique characteristics. It looked as though certain rooms had been purposefully shut off, maybe to keep important objects or papers out of prying eyes. In other places, anyone who dared to enter the tunnel felt vulnerable due to its low ceiling. These divergent spatial dynamics revealed that the tunnel's design had been intended to serve a variety of purposes. These might be anything from a safe place to store goods to a place to hide out in case of an emergency. The passageway's design appeared to be the product of a mind that was preoccupied with care and control, determined to keep secrets at all costs. The tunnel's careful construction had wider ramifications for comprehending the cultural setting in which it was constructed. The way that historical themes and contemporary technical concepts were combined suggested a purposeful, ageless attempt to build a building that may leave a legacy of undiscovered facts. In a time when openness is becoming more and more important, the notion that one person could plan such a feat made many wonder about what personal privacy really is. It served as a stark reminder that there may be several intricate layers that defy easy explanations hidden behind the well-maintained facade of a reputable estate. In many respects, the tunnel is a holdover from an antiquated style of thinking that prioritizes discretion, secrecy, and purposefully hiding one's own identity from a culture that demands conformity. On the other hand, the responses of the FBI officers during the discovery are a study in contrast. They were trained to approach studies with a combination of systematic precision and analytical detachment, but the magnitude and surprise of the finding briefly overcame them. Their deliberate movements as they made their way through the tunnel's tight spaces were accompanied by an implicit recognition of the seriousness of their finding. They felt even more vulnerable because of the wet, chilly air that permeated the corridor and the odd light coming from the stones. At that point, the tunnel was more than just a physical oddity. It turned into a potent representation of the unknown and a reminder of the enormous depths of human secrets that lie under the surface of daily existence. The tunnel discovery's ramifications struck a chord on several levels. Practically speaking, it implied that the estate was more than simply a typical house, rather it was a thoughtfully built structure intended to hide secrets that went well beyond the bounds of typical family life. Experts and investigators engaged in heated internal discussions after coming to the conclusion that the tunnel may have been used for covert meetings or other operations, which led to a whole new line of inquiry. Given the size of the construction, it seemed possible that Fritz was a member of a broader network that operated covertly, and that he was not working alone. The existence of such a network would have significant ramifications for our comprehension of clandestine operations and the extent people will go to shield their operations from public observation. Beyond the obvious operational concerns, this revelation provoked further in-depth thought about the meaning of secrecy in contemporary society. The existence of a building designed to conceal for decades was both incongruous and extremely unnerving in an era characterized by quick media and digital openness. It served as a reminder that despite all of the technology advances available to us, some regions of the world continue to rely heavily on antiquated hiding techniques. The tunnel, a place where the lines between the known and the unknown, the visible and the invisible, are purposefully blurred, is a symbol of the timeless power of individual seclusion. It questions the widely held belief that all secrets will ultimately come to light. Rather, it implies that certain secrets are meant to remain hidden in the recesses of time and space. The psychological effect the tunnel produced on its visitors was much more impressive than its architectural design. Agents found themselves thinking about the larger human dynamics of hiding aspects of oneself while they took measurements, photographed engravings, and gathered samples. Even the most experienced detectives were moved by the passageway's mute testament of a secret life parallel to public image. With each carved element and thoughtfully positioned stone, it seemed as though the tunnel spoke a coded language that communicated both safety and seclusion. It was an intentional act of self-defense, a parting message from a guy who chose to live on the periphery of civilization. The tunnel was therefore more than simply a physical building. It was a storehouse of personal history, a chronicle of Frank Fritz's inner life that had been kept secret from the world for far too long. A reconsideration of past architectural methods and their applicability in the present day was also spurred by the experience with the tunnel. The parallels between the building methods shown in the tunnel and those employed by subterranean networks and secret organizations throughout history were immediately noted by academics and specialists. The combination of imaginative architectural ideas and conventional brickwork revealed that Fritz had been impacted in different ways by several historical antecedents. The tunnel served as a link between different time periods, combining the enigma of long-standing customs with current security worries. The ongoing human obsession with secrecy and the ageless appeal of hidden areas were highlighted by this junction of the past and present. It was a phenomena that extended beyond Fritz's immediate existence and encouraged more general contemplation of the ways in which art, history, and his own identity may all converge to form a single enigmatic narrative. Agents struggled with an almost overpowering sensation of transcendence during calm periods deep beneath the tunnels. The voyage into the depths of darkness, where each ray of light and echo revealed something new about the hidden contours of human life, was both a professional and an emotional one. The agents' pale faces didn't just convey shock, they also conveyed the deep understanding that what they had seen was more than just a peculiarity in architecture. It was a call to reflect on the enormous wealth of mysteries that lie hidden beneath the surface of our daily existence. A reservoir that is mostly undisturbed by time and technology, even with today's innovations. From the intricately carved inscriptions to the convoluted passageways, every element of the tunnel conveyed an almost compulsive need for solitude. The passageway's purposeful hiding inside an estate that has long been associated with refinement and status suggests that Fritz had meticulously created a secret universe in which every element was intended to keep out unwelcome attention. The tunnel served as a haven for covert plans and clandestine operations. It was a place where social norms were suspended, and only those who were privy to its secrets could possibly comprehend its actual function. The enduring conflict between the public and private selves, a conflict that permeates every aspect of the human experience, was brought to light by this invention, which was the result of both artistic vision and strategic need. Every deliberate step and close examination by the investigative team became a meditation on the essence of concealment, deep behind the walls of that subterranean labyrinth. In addition to being a physical oddity, the concealed tunnel served as a metaphor for the extent a person would go to in order to safeguard a personal legacy and keep the most intimate secrets out of the prying eyes of the contemporary world. The reverberations of earlier choices reverberated through its quiet hallways like hushed confessions, a relic of a life carefully split between the light of public attention and the gloom of private striving was engraved into each stone and symbol. With all of its fine features and unfathomable end, passageway served as a testament to the strength of secrecy, a strength that might alter fate and defy time's unavoidable course. Both detectives and historians were drawn to the maze and its mysteries concealed behind its lavish exterior, which served as a continual reminder that even behind the most well-maintained exteriors, there may be tunnels that lead to the world's most mysterious places. Leave a comment with the number 1 if you like this video and would like to know more. If not, use the number 0 in your comment. Let's get on with the narrative now. Every carved element, the concealed tunnel, and every deliberate architectural decision all point to a function that goes beyond mere practicality, a monument to humanity's eternal obsession with secret and the extent one will go to in order to preserve what is most valued. It is a quiet diary of a life poised between the worlds of light and darkness. Every cautious step taken by those who dare to venture into the tunnel's depths adds to the tale, offering fresh perspectives on Frank Fritz's enigmatic character and his legacy, a secret path that defies simple explanation. From the first finding of a hidden trapdoor to the ultimate documenting of its intricate construction, every aspect of the discovery has added to an ever-increasing body of data that questions deeply ingrained ideas of privacy and openness in modern society. The underground tube beneath Frank Fritz's property is a live testament to humanity's capacity to construct worlds free from the public's incessant scrutiny, not just a remnant of a vanished era. It is a potent reminder that under the surface of contemporary openness and ease, there are still meticulously designed and closely guarded hidden areas, where the secrets of the human soul are kept alive in the language of quiet and stone. An investigation into the psychology underlying the intentional construction of secret areas has been spurred by the discovery of a sophisticated subterranean network buried under the house. This corridor appears to represent a profound personal philosophy, in contrast to traditional passageways constructed only for utilitarian reasons. It is the enigmatic entrance to a hollowed space within where the lines separating fantasy and reality become less distinct. Its imaginative architectural language demonstrates a deep interest in turning space into a reflective canvas. With its erratic turns and peaceful nooks, the design raises questions about its potential as a metaphorical voyage into the human psyche, a trip into emotional terrain that few would venture to explore. In this sense, the building becomes more than just a physical object. It is a striking representation of the inner struggles and aspirations that motivated its construction. The focus now turns to the purposeful strategies employed to hide this amazing structure from common view. The methods of concealing demonstrate a deep comprehension of deception and perception. Masterful mastery of both architectural design and hidden art is demonstrated by the smooth integration of ambiguous points woven into the fabric of the estate's less visited parts. Such actions not only concealed the passageway but also made sure that only those with a certain degree of comprehension could eventually access the architect's method, suggesting a deliberate invitation to selective revelation that was only extended to those deemed capable of understanding the hidden depth within. By claiming that actual sanctuaries are frequently those locations that are still hidden from the public sight, the structure questions the traditional distinction between the visible and hidden worlds. The obvious incorporation of advanced technology components, which appear to contradict expectations for private isolated enterprises, adds to the attractiveness. A design decision that reflects forethought uncommon in human endeavors, the structure's delicate integration indicates systems capable of precisely altering environmental circumstances. Such elements could include controls to regulate humidity or maintain constant temperatures, indicating a desire to provide a self-sufficient haven in addition to an emergency escape. Master workmanship is demonstrated by the meticulous material selection and precise assembly, which bridges the gap between contemporary technological innovation and traditional craftsmanship. This blending of periods results in a room that is elegantly arranged and sturdy in construction. Despite its capacity to shield its occupants from outside changes, it is impossible to ignore the passage's narrative of movement, which appears to depict a voyage of discovery both literally and figuratively. It progressively moves from wider areas to more private, isolated hallways, creating the impression that one is setting out on an adventure to become more self-aware. All curves are measured. As passengers go, a rapid change in spatial orientation appears to be intended to elicit a variety of emotional reactions. The event has an almost ritualistic feel to it, pushing participants to face deeper aspects of themselves and let go of deeply held, surface-level notions. This deliberate spatial choreography transforms the experience into a narrative of revelation, a coded tale told via thoughtfully designed physical locations rather than words. Every step raises the possibility of discovering completely new things about one's own innermost thoughts and feelings. This covert effort appears to have been influenced by the philosophical ideas and currents that have long been connected to hidden traditions. The design style decisions are reminiscent of things one would discover in old enigmatic treatises or ancient manuscripts. In an apparent attempt to appeal to intellectual rebels who place a higher value on secret knowledge than on public knowledge, the architect arranged the passage with timeless concepts of mystery and transcendence. This perspective elevates the structure beyond a simple utilitarian area. It becomes a storehouse of occult knowledge that encourages contemplation of more general ideologies. The implications of this hidden haven imply that, in contrast to the expectations of mainstream society, its establishment was motivated by a wish to protect and maybe even honor the legacy of guarded understanding. In a time when openness is frequently exalted as the greatest virtue, the wider cultural ramifications of such a sophisticated concealed structure transcend into social commentary, gently undermining dominant ideas of transparency and public accountability. The presence of a domain that is purposefully hidden calls into question the inherent worth of privacy. By providing an example of personal independence attained via deliberate hiding, the concealed tunnel might be interpreted as a silent protest against a society that is calling for more and more exposure and uniformity. It demonstrates the value of protecting areas from the growing powers of contemporary monitoring, a warning that in defiance of accepted conventions, preserving uniqueness can need the establishment of distinct zones. In its simplicity, this conception of monitoring is radical, emphasizing the conflict between the right to an unhindered private space and the goal of public accessibility. As a means of disseminating subversive creative concepts and ideologies, the history of hidden passageways and chambers has occupied a sacred place in the public consciousness. Those tales appear to be echoed by the recent discovery. According to tradition, the building is a contemporary equivalent of the intricate networks of antiquity. These historic buildings were frequently seen as entrances to holy wisdom, or as refuges in chaotic times. In a similar vein, this recently discovered route seems to evoke a resemblance to ancient riddles, indicating that its creator could have found inspiration in a tradition rich in covert communication and symbolic resistance. In addition to reinforcing its own mystique, this structure's reference to such historical precedents encourages modern viewers to reconsider the enduring allure of hidden places as stores of untold tales and guarded knowledge, a never-ending attraction. It is guaranteed to continue serving as a spark for discussions on culture and intelligence because to its enigmatic form, every uncharted area and painstakingly designed element suggests greater levels of significance that are just waiting to be unearthed by those who are deeply perceptive and determined to see past the obvious. Similar to scholarship, the design decisions speak to universal themes of loneliness, difficulty, and the unrelenting search for one's own truth, even while they are very personal to the designer. As the inquiry explores the architecture of secrecy in greater detail, it becomes evident that these concealed areas can provide priceless insights into the intricate relationship between individual liberty and social norms. In its quiet challenge, the building casts doubt on contemporary notions of accessibility and the democratization of space, arguing that the attraction of the unknown is nevertheless as potent as ever in a time of perpetual connectedness. Investigators discovered a variety of architectural elements that suggested an exceptionally inventive approach to covert building deep inside the underground network's hidden depths. The halls exhibit careful design, departing from traditional techniques to create a secret path, and are distinguished by distinctive geometric patterns and seamless transitions between varying ceiling heights. The journey seems to be divided into discrete portions rather than traveling in a continuous linear fashion, ensuring seamless transitions between rooms and accuracy in surface finishing. According to analysis, it could have been intended to offer barriers against environmental infiltration in addition to structural integrity. This dual-purpose use highlights the construction's forward-thinking approach, which places a high priority on sustainability and security. The identification of these innovative tactics begs the issue of whether comparable techniques have been employed in other covert initiatives, maybe changing some of the narrative to provide more secluded settings for subterranean building activity. A closer examination of the spatial arrangement reveals that a set of completely distinct concerns may have influenced its design. The autonomous arrangement of its sections implies a desire to keep different activities apart. Spaciousness and sparse decorating define some areas, creating the regulated ambiance of a safe storage space. Other, more constrained sections seem to be designed specifically for private transportation or fleeting moments away from the spotlight. This disparity in spatial aim points to a dual-purpose usage that strikes a balance between the need for safe mobility and the segregation of delicate topics and the necessity for peaceful reflection. Such a design's ramifications are particularly relevant to current discussions around privacy and the use of personal data. By emphasizing secrecy through inventive material selections, unusual assembly techniques, and meticulous functional separation, this building is a unique illustration of how a person's need for privacy may physically emerge, contradicting contemporary expectations of openness. The legacy that the artist has left behind questions the widely held belief that architecture is accessible. By doing thus, this paragraph invites further investigation of the hidden facets of mankind and not only acts as a timeless emblem of individual liberty, but also encourages more general contemplation of the changing relationship between intimate hiding and public disclosure. Please remember to press like and share this video with your friends and family if you think this narrative is captivating and full of surprises. Please share your ideas by leaving a comment below. To ensure you don't miss any more thrilling stories, please press the subscribe button if you haven't already. I appreciate you watching and I hope to see you in the future video.